What's up, y'all? Will here at Schedule Fly. This is a fun episode with Matt Robb of the Goat Group, and they've got 16 locations in their portfolio. The most recent being the Wild Hare out in Great Falls, Montana, which is opening this coming weekend. Matt's been out there in Montana for about a year or two. Came from Hawaii, where he was at the Dirty Monkey, and he's been at this quite a while. He and his business partners they've built a great company, and I think as I said, they've got 16 locations, I believe now. They've got another opening in Nashville next year, and he's a fun guy. He's a sharp guy. We talked about a lot of good stuff, got into some stuff about investors, and I'm just trying to understand more about how these deals are structured and stuff. So we talked about their investors and how they're compensated and all that kind of stuff, as well as a lot of other things. So they open this weekend, so it was really nice of Matt to take some time to do this. Hope y'all enjoy. More of these coming soon. Stay tuned. See ya. What's up, Matt?
What's going on, dude?
How are you?
Oh, man, fantastic. Just gearing up for this grand opening this next weekend.
Next weekend, huh?
This weekend.
This weekend, dude.
Yeah.
Well then, okay. Well, do this. Introduce yourself real quick, Matt.
My name is Matthew Robb. I'm the operating partner for the Dirty Monkey in Lahaina, Maui, and now the Wild Hare in Great Falls, Montana. And we have 14 other bars in the portfolio.
I love it, man. So, dude, you're I'm laughing. You're sitting there with your Patagonia on. I bet it's cold as heck there. You're coming out of Hawaii, man. You're going like polar opposite climate there for sure.
Yeah, you got Maui, you got Los Angeles, you got Montana. It's kind of like the Golden Triangle in a way.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, 80 degrees and sunny in Maui every day to some pretty harsh winters over here in Montana. But what's awesome about it, you got seasons up here. I'm actually from a smaller town up in the mountains of Northern California, so I'm used to the cold and snow. I just had to get my chicken skin back after a few months of coldness.
How long have you been there?
I've been here now a little over a year and 9 months, so almost 2 years.
What's in Great Falls?
So Great Falls is very well known to be a military base town. We're an Air Force base, Air National Guard town, as well as farming and ag.
Okay.
Those are basically our things that go on here. And it's actually a community that is very driven in now the growth, as of Montana. We're not a Bozeman or Bose Angeles, as they call it. We're not a Whitefish, as famous Haven. So we're more of that working class collar down here. But what's cool about Great Falls is growing. And no matter what, you're going to grow to some extent. And with growth means there's things that are missing or lacking. And we saw a great opportunity to be able to add something to this amazing town, something that we were really good at.
Tell me about the new place, man.
So the new place is it's actually a really cool building in the historical district of downtown Great Falls on Central Avenue, 518 Central. It was formerly known as the Jockey Club in the late 1920s. The building's about 106 years old. That became into what we call the New Lobby Lounge. And that was kind of like Great Falls' best dive bar. And it had been that way from the 1970s until we purchased it, a couple years ago. And then we've decided to make it into a really cool building that's going to have a place for everything from craft beer, whiskey, tequila tasting lounge, cocktail lounge, and then also dancing entertainment with bands and DJs and dancing. This building is an abandoned hotel. There's 2 floors above me that have 25 rooms per floor. It's 9,300 square feet per floor. So you take that into the basement, we got 4 floors of 9,300 square feet. So it's a large building.
Wow. Okay, so abandoned hotel.
Yeah.
Interesting. How long has it been abandoned?
So the hotel had been abandoned right around the early 1970s. when Carl Heichman, the guy that we bought it from, he bought it. And they had living like a few apartments up there that were livable. So a few people in town lived up there. But then like around 1979, they got, kind of, what do you call it when you can't go up there. It's basically off limits just because of the living quarters. And then it's been sitting vacant ever since then. One really cool fact about this building is we're one of the most haunted buildings in all of Montana. So we got some ghost activity here on a daily basis. It's just pretty cool.
So you're going to eventually then, I mean, you got all these, it's the footprint or the layout up there is rooms. I would imagine you guys are eventually going to just gut it and use the space for a different.
I mean, right now the focus is getting this main floor up and profitable. I mean, we spent some money, some capital getting this up and where it's going. We need to see the return now. And then the second phase would be going down into the basement, which is the exact same footprint as the main floor, and doing like a speakeasy down there. So a really cool speakeasy style in the basement. And then the third phase will be eventually probably a few years down the road, because it is such an undertaking, is to go upstairs. And we'll probably do some type of event center, event space. And then the fourth floor, then making into probably some, I would say higher end apartments that you can actually rent out for the event space. So if you're having a wedding up there, you're having whatever, the bridal party can have their own space upstairs. They have, you can rent the bar downstairs for the after party, and you can have the speakeasy for, the after hours. I mean, whatever, there's so many different options. Right now, the focus is just getting the main floor profitable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Gotcha. Okay. So you've been there a year, and what's been happening in Great Falls, man? I mean, I would imagine that you mentioned growth, like seems like the perfect kind of place, because I mean, particularly with COVID, so many people have realized they can work remotely, and towns like Great Falls are super attractive. It seems like these days, like small towns like that maybe are not, on like the national radar as much, but like that's kind of the perfect place. If I were going somewhere, I'd want to be somewhere like that. That's not already hit all the, massive growth things that come along with that. So it seems, I mean, how many people are there in Great Falls?
We have about 67,000
here
in the town. Like I said, our main is a military. We have Air Force Base. Malmstrom Air Force Base is a very well-known Air Force base within the community and within the country. And we also have Air National Guard. Montana is one of the most, high secret missile silos locations in the United States. So we have a ton of silos throughout the state of Montana and within a driving range of where we're at in Great Falls. So it's a big, big deal here. People come from all over the United States and stationed here. Husband, wives, families. And one of the things about the base is your median age group is anywhere between, 21 to 35, 45. And, there's really nothing that's really cool for them to do here. So when we came to Great Falls, it was kind of like, what can we add that's not already here? What are we good at? And so we came up with this idea of the space, and we've had our soft opening, our friends and family this last week. And, the word that's getting out so fast is just amazing. People are excited and for something new and something that is actually, here that can add to what's currently here. But the cool thing is like, Great Falls being a small town, you're centrally located. You're 4 hours from Whitefish. You're 2.5 hours from Bozeman. You're 2.5 hours from Missoula. You're about 3.5 hours from the Canadian border. So we're very centrally located here. And that makes a cool destination. And we have an international airport. It's a small airport, but it's international because of Canada. So we're getting a lot of those type of things coming down here.
I got you. So, okay. So it's new, it's exciting. You guys will be crushing it for a while. And then, other places will open or whatever will happen. You guys got to execute long-term. And, that's the thing I'm always fascinated with. It's like new places open, everybody wants to go. And so you got to deliver, and then you got to deliver again and again and again. So, and a lot of that's people, right? I mean,
yeah.
Tell me about that. about that part of the process, Jerry? You guys really good at finding good people and keeping good people?
Yeah, we're very lucky in the way that we have a really good culture within our company, and by that I mean that with us partners, we try to create a culture within the company where people don't want to leave. And one of the cool thing about our company is we have bartenders that have been with us for 10 years. We've got people that have been with us, started as bar backing, bartending, and now they're owners, they're partners. So we have a very cool culture within the company that allows people to stay with us for a long period of time and advancement. I mean, we're always looking to expand. Our newest venture after Montana is Nashville. We purchased a building in Nashville. Started demo about 3 weeks ago. We're looking at opening that early 23, late 22. And we're not going to be in the hustle bustle of the Nash Vegas Broadway area. We're actually going to go east about 10 minutes to a place called Madison. And so right where 701 Gallatin Pike used to be an old Sicilian restaurant called Smeraldo's. And the place had been there for many, many years. And we're super excited about that project. But why I bring that up is because we actually have bartenders that have worked with us for 5 to 8 years that have moved there, that gone into different careers, such as a real estate agent. One's a very famous singer out there, and they started with us, and they're part of this project, which makes it really cool.
So I went to Nashville the first time ever this summer. I had a bright idea to take my family of 5 from Waxhaw, North Carolina, which is, let's call it Charlotte, to Bolton in an RV. And that was interesting, but we stopped in Nashville. It was very different than what I would have expected. You said Nash Vegas, like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that whatever the main street was
Broadway.
Just Broadway. And there's like, every 2 minutes, there's a double-decker bus coming along with, I guess it's like isn't it like the capital of the country for bachelorette parties, right? Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. We were there in early August, middle of the day, weekday. It was overwhelming. I was really surprised. So you guys are not going to be in that, because that's like, and you got all these bars owned by the country stars, they put their names on it or whatever, and they're 3 or 4 stories, and there's hundreds of. I mean, it was a little overwhelming.
It is.
It's a cool freaking town too. Like everybody I know that lives there, and I knew several people that live there, and they're all like, "Man, this is like the coolest place in the world to live." They love it.
It is. I mean, Nashville is Nashville. It's called Nash Vegas for a reason. At 9 o'clock in the morning, if you're staying in a hotel downtown, you will have a party bus with a bachelor or bachelorette party on it, with music blaring going down Broadway. You have every bar with every major singer that's something right now has their name on it, and it's 3 and 4 or 5 stories. Those buildings are going for $16 to $20 million at minimum. So we weren't really into that. We're more into the neighborhood side things, and we go into neighborhoods and we create a space that creates neighborhood values and place where people can come and gather and have a good time. The Nashville spot, we went east because of that. And this particular area, I'm sure some of your viewers or listeners probably will know, Madison is very, very well known as a safe haven for country and music artists, writers, producers. That used to be the haven for them back in the late 60s into the 70s. And, it went through some culture changes and went through a couple different changes. Now it's getting its name back. But where we're at, we're with the only bar or restaurant within a few miles. So within that neighborhood that is now becoming kind of regentrified per se, new housing's coming in, or remodeling old houses, we want to be that neighborhood spot like we are, in other places.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned like you're doing the speakeasy, down below the basement floor there and things like that. That seems to be more and more common these days. It seems like people are, and maybe COVID helped this. I don't know, but it seems like people are more into things that, were around a long time ago.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Particularly in your world. I mean, the cocktail world for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been watching, I've been watching Mad Men lately. You ever watch that show?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The class.
God,
Yeah, they got the classic cocktails in that show.
they
Yeah.
do. They do
Yeah.
indeed. But you kind of miss, like, I mean, obviously the dudes were, I'm not talking about the way they behave with their their marriages and stuff, but like just
Dress.
uh, the way they did and lived back. It's attractive. It's appealing. It's it's
Yeah.
a slower pace, and it's not such a stiff, uptight pace that a lot of us are living in now. It
Right.
seems like you guys capture some of that.
We tried to, we with us partners, there's four main ones that are my partner. We're four of us total. And, we obviously now have Sky. We've known Sky for a long time, better known as the tipsy bartender. He's now one of our partners. And Ryan and Alan, my other partners, have known him for over 20 years. Before he got super famous, he was a bartender at this place called Barney's Beanery in West Hollywood, California. And, having him on the team now with Nashville, with here, with the expansion process, that's actually just brought us to the next level. And we're just start looking, all different places, but like I said, we stay true to our values with the kind of places that we build, with the family oriented, the neighborhood side of things, the craft cocktails, the craft beer, whiskey knowledge, things like that a lot of times when you get into bigger places, it's forgotten. You're just turning and burning. You're trying to make shots as fast as you can. You're trying to make these cocktails, or you get into a place that has too many touch cocktails. It takes you, 10 minutes to make one cocktail, where the volume side, you can't really do a high volume there. So we're kind of, I want to say perfected, but we've got a pretty good grasp on how to create menus and cocktails for that type of service when you are busy, and it's going to appease a lot of different guests. Staying true to the classics, your paper planes, your good old fashions, your Manhattans. The classics will always reign free. You can always come in with new stuff, but if you continue to do the classics, people will enjoy them.
How about you guys starting to see more of these spiritless cocktails? Is that something or is that just like a fad?
I don't personally see that right now. I do believe it will become something. I think more in the realm of the the ganja side of things. When you're opening those type of bars, you're going to have to watch the consumption side, because those are starting to become pretty popular. am very interested in seeing how, if someone knows to do that, the margins. I don't know how the margins would really work, because you're not having those margins, I guess you could say. I mean, I just don't know. It's a little confusing to me. I'm sure you do it, and I think it's a great idea, especially with people having a place to go that aren't drinking. I think that's a really good idea. To me, though, I think it's a bit of a risk, or to us, it's a bit of a risk for our side, because I just don't see where you're going to get the margins.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Makes sense, because the margins are in the alcohol.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you're not using alcohol and you're just using juice cocktails or whatever, you're going to have to doing so much volume to create that revenue line. I just don't know if you want to put your head out there for that. We don't. It's not our thing. But I do see a place for it if you can figure out, smaller places. Maybe it's like a wine bar of some sort, where that your overhead's not super. But for us, it just wouldn't work.
Do you fund the growth internally, or do you guys borrow capital when you're buying these buildings and doing all this, or is it all done because you've?
No, we fund the growth internally. We have a group of investors that have been with us from day one. We also bring in new investors. One of the projects, like the one in Maui, the Dirty Monkey, we hit some pretty hard spots with COVID. And we've been open just about 2.5 years or 3 years. And, they stuck with us. And right now they're about ready to get their final check for their investment and everything else. So that's gravy. So, you can't really pinpoint where you're at as far as payback and that type of investment. But, a restaurant bar is a long-term investment. And if you're teamed up with the right team that knows what they're doing, it's a pretty safe investment. Now, listen, if we find this every day where someone comes to us and says, hey, I want to open a bar. I was a cop. I like to drink. I want to open a bar. Or, I had a construction company. I want to build a bar and where all my friends can hang out. And, you got to help but chuckle because, running and owning a bar restaurant is not easy. And it will take every bit of your capital, no matter what, if you don't know how to read your numbers. I mean, it's just the bottom line. And when you throw food in there, unless you're going for a straight restaurant, bar with a bar food, your margins are so slim that you've got to make sure that you got, your labor's down, your money's not flying out the back door, your prep stuff. So it's very, very minimal as far as your profit in the food side. And so again, the margins are where your liquor is.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Tell me about, so you've been there about a year, and you guys have your grand opening this weekend. Like, what do you spend most of your time doing? Like, what does a day look like for you right now? I mean, I know it's changed obviously because you're getting ready to have this big opening, but.
Well, prior to us being construction, it's been, we're very on site, we're very hands-on, to be able to get things built the way we want them. With commercial and residential is a lot different because there's so many different factors from flow and how people come to the bar. You got to have enough room between here. So a lot of builders don't understand that. So we're very hands-on. So a day for me would be here meeting the GC in the morning, going over the plans for the day, and then trying to get out on the golf course if it was summer, for a few rounds of golf. But now the last 3 months being winter, it's a little harder to do that. And we're in crunch time. You put out so much money in capital, you need to see some type of return. So you want to make sure everything's right. So, one of the things we found the hardest right now is just getting bar equipment. I mean, everything sourcing stuff has just been a nightmare this year. Obviously, we know why, but from the bar standpoint, sometimes you're waiting 2, 3, 4 months for, a speed rail to go into your well. And it's just like, you can't really open without it. So you're kind of just waiting. But now it's morning, noon, and night, getting up here, making sure that, the sound system's working, making sure the POS is always up, our AV system. We have 24 screens, 2 video walls in this bar. So it's a very complex AV system, one of the most we've ever done. And, making sure that stuff's running right, getting the scheduling right. Obviously Schedulefly has been a huge help for us. Like running all of our bars, we use you in every one, which is awesome. And, we couldn't be happier, but at the same time, just making sure things are ready. And now we're down to crunch week. We did a soft opening, making sure that the team knows how to make their cocktails, making sure that we have, floor service, the bathrooms are clean, kitchen's ready to go. So just, a day-to-day checkoff list every morning from about 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I figured so. So with your build out, has it been a couple of things I want to ask about that? So with equipment, with whatever 10-15% of places have closed over the last couple of years because of COVID, at least that's what we've seen in our customer base. Is there a lot of used equipment out there that's available, or is it still just, do you need new equipment? Or
you're finding used equipment, but really, really used equipment, like places that have been open for many years that are rusted or not working correctly, need to be fixed. We try to reclaim as much as we can if we go into a place. This particular place was a gut. I think the only thing we were able to save was a 3-compartment sink in the kitchen. Everything else was pretty much rusted through, falling through the floor, that type of place. I mean, the place has been here for many, many years, so it makes sense. But, with the stainless steel shortage in America, to companies not having staffing, it was just a compound. I mean, I have a garage door that's going to be over here for an 18-foot garage door that's going to open up into Central Avenue in the summer with a pedlet so you can sit outside and drink and eat. It's just lost in America. Nobody can tell me where it's at. I mean, it's just gone.
And now,
yeah, we paid for it. And now they're telling me that if they can't find it, they'll have to remanufacture it. So we're looking at November. So I won't even have the garage door for summer. So it's just like one thing like that is, it's a little frustrating to say the least.
What about you mentioned steel, like what about raw materials like wood and all that kind of stuff? I mean, does that, it
Yeah.
seem like what's happened, because you've obviously been planning this a long time, I would think that just throws off a lot of projections in terms of cost for build out. And then you mentioned your GC being there, you got labor shortage with these subcontractors that, like guys get
Yeah.
COVID or whatever it is, and nobody shows up. Is it like extended everything
Yeah.
and increased the cost structure of your build out a lot?
Yeah. I mean, it extended everything dramatically in the cost structure. When we started this process, wood was, a sheet of plywood was $84. I mean, can imagine what you got to, how many build a bar and how many pieces of wood, reclaim wood, all that stuff. So, we were able to get a permit issued and the prices had came down a little bit, but we still had to put some more cushion in there for obviously lumber being one, even the FRP that goes in the kitchen, the white coating that goes on the walls, and that stuff's $40 a sheet. So, everything is inflated. I mean, from screws, nails to wood to whatever. But what you have to look at is, okay, here's the time frame. I need to get this done by this time to create some type of revenue to start getting the investors paid back. And at that point, you have to have a meeting with everybody and say, what's the plan? What do you guys want to do? And everybody's always, of course, let's do it. Go ahead, let's figure it out. And so a lot of times if we raise a certain amount and we end up going over that, us as the partners have to sell some more of our shares because we don't want to dilute the ones that already got in. So we're very good with our investor partners. We take care of them really, really well, making sure that once they say they're in for something, they don't have to put anything else in. We'll handle it on our end, and a lot of times we have to loan the company some money, and obviously we get a percentage on an interest rate on the back end, but nobody is losing their percentage per se.
Well, let me ask you about that. So when you've got investors, and you mentioned like the ones in Hawaii are about to get their last check. How does this structure? Like, is it not a long-term investment where they have a equity in the company that's 20, 30 year long plan?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got equity. For instance, Maui, when we did Maui, we raised about 1.5 million for Maui. Okay. And we were selling shares at about 60,000 a share. Some people want more shares, some people wanted less shares. That's what you do. And we have, like I said, we have a group of investors been with us for a long time. So everybody gets first right of refusal. And if we need to go find newer ones, usually it's not a problem because, obviously the success that we've had. But yeah, it is a long-term investment. You tell everybody it is. You never know in the bar and restaurant business what's going to happen. The only thing you can trust is that the operators, which is us, we kind of know what we're doing. We've done this a few times and hope to God that, it does the same. And that's kind of how it works out. But, most places like Maui, we have a 30-year lease. I'll be 74 years old when my lease is up at Maui. I'm 46 now. So,
yeah.
46. So, hopefully they understand the long-term investment and they'll get their money back. And then everything after that's gravy and on to the next project.
So do you more aggressive, like do you pay back? So your goal is to pay back the principal as quickly as possible. Okay.
Correct.
Got
That's the number one goal, to get the principal paid back as soon as possible. So everybody can start just getting their payments. And once they, getting the principal paid back, having everybody get their money back, everybody's going to be happy because they've made back their investment. They didn't lose money. A lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, they lose money, or you have to put more money in to keep the operating. So for people getting their money back on their investment, it creates a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. And like, what are we doing next? And that's how we've created our investment group, is because people understand that like these guys kind of know what they're doing. We feel safe putting our money.
Right. And then you go to the next one and you go back to them and say, hey, now we're up in Nashville or whatever. Do you buy shares in the specific project, or is it in?
Yeah. Every project has its own LLC. Every project has its own tax ID. So every project is on its own. Obviously we have an umbrella that is just the umbrella, which is called the GOAT Group, but everything that is all separately owned by investors or us.
I got you. Okay. But if a project was not doing as well as you expected or taking long, like Hawaii or whatever, the GOAT Group can lend. That's what you're talking about. The GOAT group could lend it money or do whatever because your focus is making sure that no matter what the specific project issue might be, that your investors are
Correct.
okay. I got you. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's very enticing to our investment group because of the way we make it, because we are so good about like trying to make sure that they don't have to put in extra money, if something goes south. It's I don't want to dilute our investors. That most of them are friends and family, and the last thing you want to do to your friends and family is to go back and say, "Hey, I need another 60 grand from each of you,"
Ah,
and and
exactly.
and your shares diluted. You don't really want to do that.
Right.
So we find ways to try to get around doing that. So far, we have been able to do that. We've had a couple projects that went really ballooned over budget, and we said, okay, well, this is what we got to do. We can, called everybody and said, this is what we're going to happen, and you guys don't have to worry. We'll get it open.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, dude, I won't keep you much longer, man. I'm excited for you. That's sounds like a great weekend coming up. Appreciate you taking the time to do this. As always, good to catch up, man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
we've texted and stuff like that, but good to see you. You're looking good, man. And
Hey, I
I'm
got more gray though. I got a little more gray coming in. So
why that's why I don't have a beard anymore, man. I just all my family's like, dude, you look like a lot older than you are. I'm your age. I'm 47, so but I grow that beard out. I look like 57 or something. So,
yeah,
well, I'm not going to Montana. I'm going to Wyoming next week, so somewhere relatively close to y'all. I'm
you
taking my
come up
high
to
school
Montana.
daughter skiing.
You got to come up to Montana. You check us out. It's awesome up here. Like it's really really cool. And this, I'd love for you to come and at least check out one of our spots sometime, so you can understand, what we do. Obviously out there in your world, but I mean you're crushing it as well. So congratulations on all your success.
Well, thank you, man. It's been an interesting couple of years with COVID and the stuff that happened at the beginning of the year, but no, business is good, and we're having a lot of fun, and I definitely would love to get. I've always wanted to go to Montana. I burned my RV equity last summer with that damn trip, so that would have been like the ideal way to do it. But so I'll still get out there sometime, or at least Nashville, man. I'd like to go back to Nashville because we were only there like a day, and we were kind of hustling out to Colorado. But
Yeah,
so,
I get to Nashville, we get a little further out in the project. Maybe you can fly in and hang out for a night or two or something.
yeah, man, no, for sure. I'd really like to do that. I enjoy hanging out with you, man. I really enjoy talking to you, man. This is really cool and educational, and I know you're a busy guy, so I'll let you roll. But I appreciate it a ton, man. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks. Always good catching up.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good luck this weekend.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
See ya.